I'd like to welcome our next presenter, Joel Krentz.
What do a young bodybuilder and a frail elderly lady have in common? If you guess that they could both benefit from increasing muscle mass, then give yourself a pat on the back. You're pretty smart, or maybe you just read my title. I present this as sort of a joke or something that could be laughed at, but indeed, to the populations represented by the elderly lady in my study, or in my slide, this is no laughing matter. Millions of people suffer lower quality of life due to loss of muscle mass and sarcopenia. To make matters worse, the types of training that need to be engaged in order to gain muscle mass are not normally accessible to that type of a population. This is where my research seeks to address this issue. Normally, the most optimal form of training for increasing muscle mass is known as high-intensity eccentric training. This type of training, without getting into the specifics, causes muscle damage, is normally perceived as hard and intimidating, and in general involves very heavy weights. Not necessarily something you'd want your grandma doing. But I'm excited to report some interesting findings from my research. I seek to look at a lower form of eccentric training and look to see if we could seek some of the same benefits, but at a lower intensity. My findings suggest that low-intensity eccentric training is as beneficial for increasing muscle mass, but subjects self-reported that intensity or exertion was significantly lower. What does that mean? It was easier to do, and that makes it more accessible for the multitude of populations that could benefit from it, so that not just the intense bodybuilder can gain muscle mass, but someone with sarcopenia, a frail elderly, or someone suffering cancer cachexia could also benefit from this type of training. Now, I started off my presentation saying that this is no laughing matter, and I do think that. But I think that if I tell you about a strategy that could potentially augment training, make it more accessible, and be vastly available to a lot of populations, that's something that could bring a smile to all of our faces.